The room was warm, but my chest felt hotter. When Haru's eyes locked on mine, the air seemed to stop moving. His smile, his breath, the way he leaned closer, I could feel every second stretching longer than forever. My heart raced, my lips ached with waiting, and in that moment, nothing else mattered but him. Before we dive deeper into this story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join us here at Pure Blush BL. Sit back, relax, and let the story carry you away. The living room was loud that night. Pillows and blankets were everywhere, the smell of popcorn filled the air, and laughter bounced off the walls. It was our usual weekend sleepover. The six of us had done this for years, ever since middle school. But tonight felt different. I didn't know why yet. Maybe it was because of Haru. It was always because of Haru. I sat in the corner of the couch, arms crossed, trying to look calm. I never liked party games. I liked watching, but when it was my turn, I always wanted to sink into the floor. Especially Truth or Dare. It was the one game I hated most. People used it to push you into things you didn't want to do, to make you laugh or blush. And Haru, he never knew when to stop pushing. Haru sat on the floor, legs crossed, eyes bright under the soft light of the lamps. His hair looked messy but in a way that seemed on purpose, chestnut strands falling into his eyes. He laughed at everything, too easily, like the world was made just to entertain him. And maybe it was. Everyone liked him. He was the center of the group, even when he wasn't trying. And me? I sat quiet, watching. I always told myself I wasn't jealous. Ren! My friend Yuto called. It's your turn. Truth or Dare? I froze. Everyone's eyes turned to me. My stomach tightened. I wanted to say truth, like I always did, but I caught Haru smirking at me. His lips curved in that way that meant trouble. My chest felt warm and tight. Dare, I said before I could stop myself. A small cheer went up. Haru's smirk grew wider, and I knew right away I had made a mistake. He leaned forward, his voice full of teasing. I dare you, Haru said slowly, to kiss me. The room exploded with shouts and laughter. Some of our friends clapped, some whistled, some just stared wide-eyed. My ears burned. I wanted to argue, to say no, but the words caught in my throat. Haru's eyes were locked on mine, bright, playful, daring. It was just a joke. That's all. A silly dare to make the group laugh. I could do it fast, just a peck, and it would be over. I told myself that as I stood, my knees weak. My heart hammered so hard I thought it would break through my chest. Haru tilted his chin up slightly, waiting. His lips curved, soft and sure, like he knew I wouldn't back out. I bent down, telling myself it would be quick. But it wasn't. The moment my lips touched his, something inside me stopped. His mouth was warm, softer than I expected, and he didn't pull away. Instead, he leaned in closer. I felt his breath against me, light and steady, and before I knew it, my lips moved against his, slow, careful. The room around us faded. The laughter turned into a distant hum. All I could feel was Haru. His lips pressed to mine, not hard, not rushed, but lingering, like he wanted to memorize the moment. And I didn't stop him. I didn't want to. My eyes fluttered shut, and for a second, it felt like time wasn't real. His hand brushed against my arm, just a touch, and it sent sparks through me. My chest was burning, my stomach twisted, and yet I couldn't move. I didn't want to move. Then I heard someone gasp loudly, and it snapped me back. The room was full of noise again. Shouts, laughter, disbelief. I jerked back, my face hot, my heart racing out of control. Haru sat there, smiling faintly, his eyes unreadable. Wow, Yuto said, his voice full of shock. That was not just a dare kiss. The others agreed, laughing, clapping, teasing. I forced myself to smile, to shrug like it was nothing. It was just a game, I said, my voice too flat. Don't make it weird. But inside it already was weird. The game went on. People spun the bottle, chose truths, dared each other to sing badly or eat too many chips. Everyone laughed, everyone forgot. Everyone but me. I sat there, pretending to watch, pretending to laugh when I had to. But my lips still tingled. I kept touching them without meaning to, as if they remembered what had just happened. Every time I glanced at Haru, he was looking at someone else, laughing at someone else's dare. Not once did he look at me. That made it worse. Did it mean nothing to him? Was it just a dare, just a joke to make the group laugh? I told myself yes. Of course it was. But the way he hadn't pulled back, the way his lips had moved against mine, it didn't feel like a joke. Hours later, when the games were over and everyone was sleeping in their bags, I lay awake. The room was dark except for the glow of the streetlight through the curtains. I could hear soft snores, the rustle of blankets. But I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, my heart still beating too fast. My mind replayed the kiss again and again, every second of it. The way Haru leaned closer. The warmth of his breath. The softness of his lips. The way I hadn't wanted to stop. Why did it feel like that? Why did it feel real? I told myself to forget it, to push it away. It was just a dare. Just Haru being Haru. He always liked to push me, to make me uncomfortable, to see how far I would go. That was all. But my body didn't listen. My lips remembered. My chest remembered. And every time I closed my eyes, I saw his face so close to mine, his smile right before, his eyes right after. I turned onto my side, pulling the blanket tight around me. Across the room, I could just barely see his sleeping form in the dim light. His chest rose and fell, calm, steady, like nothing had changed. But something had. I pressed my lips together, shutting my eyes tight. I told myself again and again it was nothing. But in the darkness, with the memory of his kiss burning inside me, I knew I was lying. And I didn't know what that meant. The next morning, the sunlight was too bright. I pulled the blanket over my head, wishing I could stay hidden forever. My friends' voices filled the kitchen downstairs, but I stayed on the couch, pretending to sleep. I didn't want to see anyone. I didn't want to see him. Haru. The memory of last night was still sharp in my mind. The kiss. The way it lingered. The way I hadn't stopped it. My chest tightened just thinking about it. I told myself it was just a game, just a dare, nothing more. But my lips remembered too clearly. My body remembered too strongly. So I avoided him. I waited until everyone was busy before I grabbed my bag and slipped out of the house. I didn't even say goodbye. I told myself it was the smart thing to do. If I didn't see him, I wouldn't think about him. But that was a lie. All day, my head was full of him. His laugh, his smile, the heat of his lips against mine. I hated it. I hated that I couldn't push it away. Every time someone said his name, my ears burned. Every time I thought I saw him in the hall, my heart jumped. And then, when I finally saw him, he was normal. Too normal. At lunch, he sat with the others, joking and laughing like always. Like nothing had happened. Like we hadn't kissed in front of everyone. Like he hadn't leaned in, hadn't pressed close, hadn't made my chest feel like it was on fire. I sat at the end of the table, quiet, picking at my food. He didn't even look at me. Not once. I thought maybe he was ignoring me on purpose, the same way I was ignoring him. But when he laughed, when he leaned against Yudo's shoulder, I felt something ugly twist inside me. Jealousy. I hated the word. I hated the feeling. But it was there, hot and heavy in my stomach. Why did it bother me so much? Why did I care if he was laughing with someone else? The rest of the day dragged by. I kept telling myself to forget, to let it go. But the more I tried, the more it stuck. And then, after class, it happened. I was gathering my books when the room grew quiet. I looked up and realized everyone had already left. Everyone except him. Haru leaned against the door, his bag slung over one shoulder, his smile lazy and sure. "You've been avoiding me," he said. My chest tightened. I stuffed my books into my bag, not looking at him. "You're imagining things." "Am I?" His voice was teasing, light, but it carried something sharper underneath. "You ran out this morning before anyone else was awake. You barely said a word at lunch. And you still won't look at me now." I gritted my teeth. "Maybe I just don't want to deal with your games." He chuckled. The sound made my skin prickle. "Games? You mean last night?" I froze. My hand tightened around my bag strap. Thinking about that kiss? He asked, his voice softer now, almost a whisper. Heat rushed to my face. I spun toward him, my eyes burning. Shut up, Haru. He tilted his head, grinning like he had won something. So you were thinking about it. I said shut up. My voice was sharp, too loud in the empty room. I hated the way he looked at me, like he could see through me. Like he knew the truth I was trying so hard to bury. I stepped back, but he moved forward. Slowly, carefully, like a predator with its prey. His eyes stayed on mine, unblinking. You're blushing, he said. His tone was playful, but his eyes were serious. I'm not, I snapped, though my face burned hotter by the second. I backed into the wall before I realized it, my shoulders pressing against the cool surface. And then he was right in front of me. Haru placed his hand on the wall beside my head, leaning close. His breath brushed against my cheek, warm and steady. His chest was only inches from mine. I could feel his heat, his presence surrounding me. My heart thundered. My legs felt weak. What are you doing? I whispered, my voice shaking. Nothing, he said with a sly smile. Just standing here. This isn't funny. I'm not laughing. His eyes searched mine, serious now. Too serious. The space between us felt like it was charged with something electric. My body screamed to move, to push him away, but I couldn't. I was frozen. Frozen by the way his eyes softened, by the way his lips hovered close enough that I could feel the ghost of his breath. For a moment, I thought he would kiss me again. My lips parted without my permission. My chest rose and fell, desperate for air. I wanted him to close the distance, and I hated myself for it. But he didn't. He just stayed there, his gaze locked on mine, his smile faint but knowing. You can tell me to stop, he whispered. But you haven't yet. His words sank into me, heavy and true. I swallowed hard, my throat dry. I wanted to deny it, to push him away, to tell him he was wrong. But no words came. Only silence. Finally, he stepped back, letting the space between us return. I sucked in a shaky breath, my body trembling. See you tomorrow, Ren, he said lightly, as if nothing had happened. He walked out of the room, leaving me against the wall, my heart racing, my body hot, my mind in chaos. I pressed a hand to my chest, trying to steady myself. What was happening to me? Why couldn't I push him away? Why did every part of me want him closer instead? Desire battled denial inside me, loud and endless. I wanted him. I didn't want him. I hated him. I couldn't stay away from him. And worst of all, I didn't know which feeling would win. Basketball practice had always been simple for me. Run, shoot, defend. Sweat and focus. No time to think about anything else. But that day it was different. That day, my mind refused to stay on the game. Because of Haru. He wasn't even playing. He sat on the bleachers, leaning back with his usual easy smile, watching us. That should have been fine. He came to practice sometimes. But it wasn't fine. Not when I saw the way two of my classmates walked up to him, smiling too much, leaning too close. One of them, Aya, laughed and touched his arm. Haru laughed back, his smile bright. The sound carried across the court and hit me like a punch. Something twisted hard inside my chest. Irritation. No, worse than irritation. Jealousy. I missed a shot. Coach shouted at me to focus. I tried, but my eyes kept going back to Haru. To the way he leaned closer when Aya whispered something. To the way he didn't pull back. To the way he smiled at her like it was the easiest thing in the world. My stomach burned. I told myself it was nothing. Haru was friendly with everyone. That was who he was. But the truth was sharp. I didn't want him to be like that with anyone else. When practice finally ended, I grabbed my bag and stormed out, sweat still clinging to my skin. I just wanted to get away. But he was waiting. Haru stood outside the gym, hands in his pockets, his chestnut hair messy from the wind. When he saw me, his lips curved into that familiar grin. You're avoiding me again, he said. I looked away, tightening my grip on my bag. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. He stepped closer, eyes bright. You've been doing it all week. And now you can't even look at me. I clenched my jaw. Maybe I just don't like you hanging around practice. You distract people. He raised an eyebrow. Distract you, maybe? Heat rushed to my face. I started walking, not answering. He followed easily, his steps light beside mine. The air was thick, gray clouds rolling in above us. The streets were quiet, the sound of our footsteps echoing. Then, without warning, the sky opened, and rain poured down in heavy sheets. Great, I muttered, pulling my jacket over my head. Come on, Haru said, grabbing my wrist. He tugged me toward a small awning outside a closed shop. We huddled under it, the rain falling just inches from our shoes. Water streamed off the roof, splashing loudly onto the pavement. The smell of wet earth filled the air. My shirt stuck to my skin, damp and uncomfortable. But all I could think about was how close he was. Haru shook out his hair, droplets flying everywhere. Then he laughed, soft and warm. The sound cut through the storm like light, and something inside me snapped. I couldn't take it anymore. The jealousy, the confusion, the way he teased, the way he smiled like nothing mattered, the way he acted normal after the kiss, while I had been losing sleep every night. Before I knew what I was doing, I grabbed his wrist and pulled him closer. My other hand pressed against the wall beside his head. His eyes widened, surprised, but he didn't move away. Ren? He asked, his voice low. I didn't answer. My chest burned, my body shaking. I leaned in and crushed my lips against his. It wasn't like the first time. It wasn't playful. It wasn't slow. It was raw, desperate. My lips moved hard against his, my breath shaky and rough. I felt the shock in his body, then the way he melted into me, his hands grabbing the front of my shirt. The rain roared around us, but I barely heard it. All I could hear was my heartbeat, loud and wild in my ears. All I could feel was him, his lips, his warmth, the way he kissed me back without hesitation. My fingers curled into his hair, pulling him closer. His mouth parted slightly, and I felt his breath mix with mine, hot and uneven. The world spun. I didn't care. I only cared about the taste of him, the way he answered every push, the way he matched my hunger. When I finally pulled back, both of us were breathing hard. His lips were red, his cheeks flushed. His eyes, wide and glowing, locked onto mine. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The storm filled the silence, the rain hitting the pavement like drums. My chest heaved, my body trembling with leftover fire. Then Haru smiled. Not his usual teasing smile. This one was softer, but sharper too, like he had been waiting for this. So you were thinking about it, he whispered. I froze, my throat tight. Words wouldn't come. I wanted to deny it, to shake my head, to laugh it off like a joke. But the truth was too clear, too heavy. My kiss had already said everything. I looked away, trying to calm my racing heart. But Haru leaned in again, close enough that his shoulder brushed mine, close enough that I could feel his warmth through the cold rain. You don't have to hide it, he said softly. Not from me. I swallowed hard, my hand still pressed against the wall. My body wanted to drag him back into another kiss. My mind screamed to stop, to run, to protect myself. But when I finally looked at him again, I knew. I couldn't stop. Not anymore. The storm raged on, but under that small awning, the world had changed. I could not sleep the whole night. My head kept turning on the pillow, my chest feeling heavy, and every time I closed my eyes, all I could see was Haru's face. The sound of rain from yesterday, the heat of our kiss under that small roof, the way his lips pressed so hard against mine, it was all stuck inside me. But the worst part was not the kiss. It was how much I wanted more. I told myself it was just a mistake. Just a moment. Just a stupid rush. But then my heart said no. My heart kept shouting at me that it was real. I liked it. I wanted it again. I wanted him. And that thought scared me. Because Haru was not just anyone. He was my friend. My best friend. We had known each other for years. We played basketball together. We ate lunch together. We laughed at stupid jokes together. If I ruined that, then what would I have left? That morning, when I saw him at school, I tried to act normal. I forced myself to smile. I forced myself to laugh when the other boys made jokes. But Haru was different. He was quiet. Not cold, not angry, just quiet. His eyes kept looking at me when he thought I did not notice. And when our eyes met, he did not look away. He just stared, like he was waiting for me to say something. I could not take it. At lunch, I avoided him. I told the others I was going to the library, even though I never went there. I just sat behind the shelves, pretending to read a book, trying to make my heart stop racing. But the truth was, I was running. I was running from him. From us. From myself. That evening, after practice, the sun was setting and the air was cool. The other boys left one by one, and I stayed behind, tying my shoes slower than usual, hoping Haru would just go home. But of course, he didn't. I heard his voice before I even looked up. "You're avoiding me again, Ren." I froze. My fingers stopped moving. Slowly, I looked up, and there he was, leaning against the wall, his arms crossed, his bag hanging from his shoulder. His eyes were sharp, but his face was too calm. "I'm not," I said quickly. Too quickly. "Yes, you are." His voice was soft, but it cut deep. I wanted to argue. I wanted to laugh it off. But my throat was dry, and the words would not come out. So I just stood up and grabbed my bag. "Let's go." We walked side by side in silence. The streets were quiet, the air heavy, and every step made my chest hurt more. I could feel him next to me, close enough that our arms brushed sometimes. Each time it happened, my body jumped like fire. Then he spoke again. "Ren," he said, his voice lower than usual, "are you thinking about that kiss?" My whole body froze. I turned to him, shocked, my face hot. What?" He smirked a little, like he already knew the answer. "You are, aren't you?" I snapped, my voice louder than I wanted. "Shut up." It was nothing. But the heat on my face betrayed me. My fists clenched tight, and I looked away quickly. He laughed softly. Not in a mean way. More like he was enjoying how flustered I was. "You're a terrible liar, Ren." I hated him for that. I hated how easily he could read me. I hated how calm he was when I was breaking inside. We kept walking, but the silence was different now. Heavy. Thick. My heart pounded so hard I thought he could hear it. By the time we reached the park near my house, the sky was dark. The wind blew through the trees, and I finally stopped walking. "Haru," I whispered, my voice shaking. "We can't. We shouldn't." He turned to me. For the first time, his smile was gone. His eyes were serious, deep, almost sad. "I know," he said. "I know what you're thinking. You're scared. You think it will ruin everything. You think we can't go back." I swallowed hard. My throat burned. "Yes. I don't want to lose you." He stepped closer. Just one step, but it was enough to make my breath hitch. "Ren," he said softly, "you won't lose me. Because I've already chosen you." I blinked, confused. "What do you mean?" He took a deep breath. His hands clenched at his sides. His voice trembled just a little. "I've liked you for a long time. Longer than you think. I never told you because I thought you would laugh, or push me away. But that kiss showed me something. I can't pretend anymore." My chest exploded. My knees felt weak. The words hit me harder than anything in my life. He liked me. All this time. I wanted to answer. I wanted to say yes, to scream that I felt the same. But the fear was still there, wrapping around me like chains. So I shook my head, whispering, "We're just messing around, right? Just playing." His eyes flashed. Before I could say more, he moved. He grabbed my shirt, pulled me close, and kissed me. But this kiss was not like before. It was not hungry, not wild. It was soft, gentle, full of something I could not describe. His lips pressed against mine slowly, carefully, like he was afraid I might break. His hands trembled as they clutched my shirt. My heart pounded, but this time I did not push him away. I kissed him back. Our lips moved together, slow and warm. His breath mixed with mine, his forehead brushing against me. My hands, almost without thinking, lifted and touched his hair. Soft, silky, sliding between my fingers. He shivered. The kiss deepened, still tender but stronger now, like waves crashing but never hurting. His hands left my shirt and slid up, one resting lightly against my waist, the other on the side of my face. I felt his touch everywhere. Even the smallest brush of his fingers burned into me. I pulled him closer, my chest pressed against his, our hearts beating fast, almost in rhythm. The world around us disappeared. No park, no sky, no rules, just him and me. When we finally pulled apart, we were both breathless. Our faces were red, our lips wet, our eyes wide. Haru's voice broke the silence, low and shaking. So, tell me, Ren, was that still just messing around? I stared at him. His eyes shone, full of hope and fear all at once. And for the first time, I stopped lying to myself. My voice cracked, but I whispered the truth. No, I've wanted this all along. The words left my mouth, and I felt like chains had broken. My chest felt lighter, my heart free. Haru smiled, small and soft, and he pulled me into another kiss. Not fast, not desperate, just long and tender, full of everything we had been hiding. And for the first time I let myself fall. I was not afraid anymore. Haru and I were different now. Everyone could see it, even if no one said it out loud. We still played basketball, still laughed, still sat beside each other in class, but something had changed. Something deep. Every time his hand brushed mine, I felt it. Every time he looked at me for too long, I knew it. And every time I kissed him in secret, away from the world, I was reminded that I was his, and he was mine. But I still struggled. When it was just us, I could let go. I could hold him, touch his hair, whisper his name like it was a prayer. But when we were around others, I froze. My chest tightened, my throat locked. The fear came back, whispering, "What if they laugh? What if they hate you? What if you ruin everything?" Haru never pushed. He only smiled, patient, like he could wait forever. But I saw the flicker in his eyes sometimes, the small ache when I pulled away too fast. I hated myself for that. That weekend, we had another gathering. Same group of friends, same living room, same pile of blankets and snacks. And of course, someone had to bring up that night. The night of the first dare. The kiss that started it all. We were sitting in a circle, chips scattered across the floor, sodas half empty. One of the boys grinned, leaning back against the couch. "Hey, Ren. Remember when Haru dared you to kiss him? Man, that was hilarious." Laughter broke out around the circle. I felt my stomach twist. My ears burned. I wanted to disappear. Before I could answer, Haru spoke. His voice was calm, steady, but his eyes never left me. That was only the beginning. The room fell quiet. I froze. My heart stopped. My friends blinked, looking at him, then at me. And then something inside me snapped. I was tired. Tired of running, tired of hiding, tired of pretending I did not want him more than anything. So I moved. Without thinking, without stopping, I reached out, grabbed the front of his shirt, and pulled him to me. My lips crashed against his in a deep, hot kiss that stole the air from both of us. The room exploded in gasps and shouts, but I didn't care. All I cared about was him. Haru's lips parted in surprise, but then he kissed me back, strong and sure, his hand sliding up to the back of my neck, pulling me closer. The heat between us burned, our mouths moving with a hunger that had been waiting too long. I pressed harder, tilting my head, tasting him, claiming him. His breath mingled with mine, his soft sound of surprise turning into a low hum that made my chest tremble. The world around us vanished. The laughter, the shock, the noise. It all disappeared under the fire of our kiss. When we finally broke apart, our foreheads rested together, our chests rising and falling fast. His lips were red, mine probably the same. My hand still clutched his shirt, knuckles white. I looked at him, and for the first time, I was not scared. I was proud. He smiled at me, wide and bright, his eyes shining with something so deep it almost hurt to look at. Our friends sat frozen. Some whispered, Some laughed nervously, some just stared. But none of it mattered. I pulled Haru's hand into mine, lacing our fingers tight, and turned to them. My voice was steady. He's not a dare. He's my choice. Silence. Then a mix of reactions. Cheers, teasing, a few awkward coughs. But I didn't flinch. I didn't let go of his hand. Because in that moment, I understood something. All this time, I thought I was scared of losing him. But the truth was, I was more scared of losing myself if I kept denying it. And I was done denying. That night, when I lay in bed, Haru's hand still warm in mine, my lips still tingling from the kiss, I whispered to myself. That was the night I stopped running. From him. From us. And for the first time in my life, I felt free. And that was today's chapter of love, daring hearts, and stolen kisses. Thank you so much for watching till the end. If you enjoyed this moment with Ren and Haru, please subscribe, comment, and show your support. Your love helps keep these stories alive. Until next time, stay with us here at Pure Blush BL.